Or Lagola was a 2-year rabbinical program. In the program, they taught us practical halacha, Jewish law, and how to be a rabbi of a synagogue, of a community. And we also got training in how to do outreach, right? How to do kiruv with various members of the community, including children, adults, and running workshops, how to teach a class, etc. So in my 4 years, so it wasn't 4 years in Baltimore, I was actually in Baltimore for 3 years. I was in New York for 1 year, and then I was in Baltimore for 3. I started off by running a program in a Sunday school in New York and in Suffolk County for about 1 year, and working with kids, and then I went on to Baltimore. So in Baltimore, where I spent 3 years, I was working for Esher Torah for a year, and then I spent 2 years working for NCSY. Then what was my experience? So over the 4 years, I'd say the most successful thing that I did was so when I was working in Baltimore, I started working with adults, running workshops and one-on-one with young couples and with unmarried young individuals. And at one point in the shul that we had, there was a kid who approached me, a child who approached me, and he said, I want to start a Jewish culture club in a public high school that he was attending. And I asked somebody in NCSY how to run the program, how does it go? And then I started one club in a Jewish culture club in this public high school, in Franklin High School. And the first attendance I had we had 45 kids come to the first program. And whenever I would try and run a shiur or a workshop or any sort of social event with adults, if I was lucky, I would get 15 to 20. And then when I ran my first program in a high school, so I had 45 kids. And I saw that it was just a lot more effective. Kids were more open, more responsive. And the only thing I had to do to get them to come was to give them free pizza. So I ran one club, and then I asked him if he has any friends in any other schools, and I branched out from one school to the next. And within a period of about 2.5 months, I was able to start 9 culture clubs in 9 different public high schools, and I had about 400 kids coming weekly. I had an annual budget of about $12,000 for pizza, because I would buy pizza for these kids every week. And so with Baruch Hashem, it was very successful. We had kids mostly, and I had to deal with all sorts of interesting cases while I was there. I guess like a couple of interesting stories was at one point I had a kid who was coming to the culture club, and he was really, really into it and really involved. Very exciting, and the kid seemed like a little bit of a nebuch. Like it wasn't very. First of all, he was always sad. He always out of it. He wasn't. He was coming to the clubs. He was happy to be there, but he just wasn't participating. And one day he just stopped showing up. So I went to the guidance counselor and I asked, "What happened? Where's this kid? What happened to him?" And the guidance counselor said, "We've been trying to reach him. We haven't been able to get a hold of him. Here's his address. You can go to his house." So I went to his house, and he lived in like the most run-down part of Baltimore, like what we would call white trash. And I go into the house, and the kid is sitting there with his two his two nephews, and his two nephews were both black. So I said, "Why aren't you in school?" He says, "I can't go to school because my sister has a job where she works all night." And you can only imagine what she was doing when she was working all night in some sort of pub, bar, whatever it is. So I have to stay here to watch my nephews, right? And the two nephews were black because his sister had married some black guy, or had a couple of kids with some black guy, and the black guy's in jail. So the sister is there by herself, and she's with these two kids, and he's So he basically says, like, I have to watch my kids while my sister is sleeping because she's up working all night. So I realized that there's like something going wrong, like with this whole picture, and the house was total total disarray. There were boxes and boxes of pizza piled up and clothes all over the place and cigarette butts. It was pretty disgusting. So I wanted to get social services involved. And through my research, I saw the Jewish family social services is not equipped to handle cases like this. They couldn't deal with it. So it's beyond the scope of what they can handle. And so I called the posek and I asked him. I said, "Is it mutter for me to call not secular social services on this Jewish kid?" And when I asked the posek this question, the posek wanted more information about what was going on. Where was this girl? Where was why was the boy not going to school? Where were these black kids and what was going on? And when I told him that the reason why this boy had to watch the kids was because the girl was, his sister was out all night in a bar, dancing and doing whatever, he said, they're not Jewish. He said, the family's not Jewish. And I said, what are you talking about? I said, the boy told me he's Jewish. The girl, his sister told me they're Jewish. I spoke to the mother once. The mother told me that they're Jewish. And the posek said, no, he's not Jewish because there are three traits of a Jew. Baishanim, Gomel Chasadim, and Rachmanim. And he said that if this girl, this sister of this boy who was involved in your clubs, would so openly just tell you about what she's doing at night. Like she told me about what you, I don't want to say it on camera, right?
Yeah,
But, right? But if she was so open about telling me about what she was doing, then she's not a Baishan. And he said that can't be Jewish. Like there's just something wrong here. So he said, go back and ask the mother, are you sure you're Jewish? So I went back to the mother. And I said, are you Jewish? Are you sure? And she said, yeah, I told you, my mother was from the Holocaust and from Europe. And I said, really? That's so interesting. I said, do you know anything about Judaism? Do you know the Shema Yisrael? She says, no, I don't know anything. My mother didn't want to talk about it after the war. She didn't want to have anything. I said, are you absolutely certain, 100% that you're Jewish? And she said, yeah, I'm Jewish. And I kept pushing her, and I asked her again. I said, how do you know? I said, where does it come from? You're not giving me any sort of indication. They said, I want to believe you, but I don't have anything. So then she just broke down and started crying. And she said, Rabbi, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I hope I don't go to hell. I didn't mean to lie to you, but I didn't know what to do. She says, I'm not Jewish. I said, the only reason I told you I was Jewish is because my son, as you can see, doesn't have anything. He doesn't have a father. His sister's all messed up, and we don't have any money, and I struggle so much, and I can't give him any attention, and you were the first good thing that happened to him in his life. So I want to, I told him to lie and tell you that he was Jewish so that you would take him in and be part of the club. So once I learned that, I was like, great, and I called social services, and I let them take over. But it shows you how important it is to go to Das Torah, as I didn't know what to do, and Das Torah just made it very simple and said, they're not Jewish, it can't be.
I understand you were in NCSY yourself and attended a public high school yourself. How did that help you being able to do your job as a Hebrew rabbi?
It's a good question. I guess ultimately, first and foremost is I grew up not religious, and when NCSY took me in and showed me the beauty of Torah and the beauty of Judaism, and I see how it's changed my life. I'm one of the fortunate ones that found my way to Judaism, and I have Li'ayin Hara, 8 children, and a married daughter, and I look at my friends, and most of them are either divorced or never got married or struggling. Even if they have money, they don't have meaning in their life. And Judaism has given me so much because of NCSY, what NCSY gave me, from the simcha, from the dancing, and from the inspiration, that's what led me to get involved in Or Lagola. It made me say, I want to give this to other people. I want to take the gift that I got, and I want to give it to others as well. So that inspired me and motivated me to get involved. And also just like, growing up in a system that's not religious, and then having NCSY and helped me relate to the kids and give them what they needed in order to bring them close. Yeah.